We're going to do a little bit of garden cleanup out here today. If you're just tuning into this after the stream's over, feel free to scrub through. Just wanted to show you a little bit of what happens during the winter here. It's kind of nice. It's up in the 50s right about now. I'd say it's about 55 out here, but the wind's blowing, so you're going to get a little bit of wind noise out of the screen there. But just want to pull up some of this stuff here. We'll head down to the second garden, kind of look at some stuff down there, pull some stuff up down there. So long and short, here is dinosaur kale that's been out here. Of course, as you all know, it's been very, very cold. It's been into the single digits here at night, basically. So pretty much everything out here is just about dead. But anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull up this little bit of dinosaur kale here real quick. We may mess with this kale. I don't know if I'm pointing in the right direction here on the screen. Kale that's over in here in this garden, we may pull it up, but then again, we may just head on down to the second garden and mess around down there for a few. But anyway, I'm just going to kind of pile this stuff up to get it out of the way. I'm not really going to haul it anywhere just yet. We're just kind of sticking stuff outside of the garden, out and about and around. That way we can come pick it up later. It's just going to be a little bit easier for the stream here anyway. Then here's something we've already pulled out of the ground previously. We were in here working on getting the paper chains out of these gardens while the tunnels were still on. The plastic, that is, and you can see right now the plastic is down. But yes, that's it. I was hoping to go live for an hour, but I spent about half an hour trying to mess with my phone in the orientation, so we'll see how long we can go here. Kind of, as you can see there, I'm just trying to get the soil off of them. The main concern here is two things. I don't know what we're going to put right here in this particular bed, so I want to get this stuff out of here. And also another thing can happen is this kale can actually start to regrow in the spring, and it makes it even more difficult to move around if you just leave it in the ground. So we're doing this now to hopefully make that a lot easier. Pretty easy, which is nice. Let's see if I can rotate y'all a little bit more here. There we go, that ought to work. And also as I go, I kind of take my foot and smooth out the soil a little bit from the holes where the roots are coming out of. Just real quick. pretty nice. They're actually really easy to pull up. That was a dinosaur kale they were pulling up out of the ground, as you can see by the pile there. But yeah, they came up pretty easy. With all the freezing we had going on, the soil out here is really nice and plush. It's actually leaving quite deep footprints out here, because that's kind of nice. Hopefully that'll be good for the springtime, having the soil nice and supple. Well, let's move on down this way a little bit and see what we can see. Getting hung up there. Let's just take a peek right here and see how this kale goes through here. Getting hung up on the strings here. Bring y'all down just a little bit more here. Let's see if these want to come up pretty easy. Well, nope, those were planted with the paper chains. I don't have a bucket out here to get those paper chains out. So we'll go on down to the second garden. Being it is windy out here, I don't want this stuff blowing all over the place. It's still frozen right there too. Frozen ball of soil. I don't know if you can see that, the glistening of that. So with that, we probably ought to let it thaw out some more too, that way we're not ripping the paper chains all to pieces. Alrighty, well then let's just head on down to the second garden. I'll walk y'all down there. Hopefully it won't be too wobbly on you. Get this tripod back out here. Hopefully in a position to where the wind won't blow it over. Alrighty, so right down through here, kind of hard to see in the sun, looking toward you guys there. Through here is where we had salad growing. And again, we just noticed up there a minute ago that the ground's too frozen to get these paper chains out. A little too frozen to get them out right now. Have to wait a little bit more time on those. And also I generally bring a bucket down here to get that trash into. And again, I don't want it blowing around all over the place. But all through here, we still have to clean out all these beds here, all the way up through there, which is just kind of a part of what we normally do anyway. Of course, it's been cold. But over here on this other tunnel over here, we've already gotten all the paper chains out of those. There might be a few little stragglers here and there, but we got all of those out of there. So anyway, we don't like leaving the paper chains in the ground. One, we don't do any tillage here. Well, we haven't since we started the farm anyway. And then when we don't do any tillage, there's nowhere for these paper chains to go. And whenever we try to run planters through here and all that, it really messes things up. Even the larger pieces of wood chips can mess it up sometimes. Something about this big can get stuck in the planters as well, the planters in the transplanter. But anyway, let's go ahead and move over just a little bit more. I'll show you some more of the garden here. Bear with me. We do have new cameras ordered, and we did go ahead and go with a unlimited data plan. So we've been investing more into the channel. Those new phones are supposed to be able to have some sort of video stabilization, but I'm not sure if that video stabilization is actually going to work when we're doing live streams, but it should help out quite a bit for doing any other type of videos. But up through here, again, you can kind of see everything's been cleaned out. It's ready to rock and roll. We did other cleanup over here before it got really, really cold as well. I think we had beets growing through here. Excuse me, they're trying to set y'all down gently. We had beets growing in through here and a few different other things. I can't remember exactly. We just do so much crop rotation, it's hard to remember exactly where everything was. Up here is the, as you can see, I've got more kale up there on top of the hill I need to get out. I think those have paper chains. Hey, Anna, does that kale up there, does that have paper chains in it as well?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, I'm holding off on pulling paper chains out for right now. I'd like to get it done, but it's better to just hold off. Then right up through here is where the strawberry patch is located. These down here were just some sort of variety. I can't remember what they were. We got them from a local hardware store, I do believe, or maybe that was on his father before he passed away. And on the very top, they're ever-bearing, and what they're starting to do is they're starting to crossbreed. So we've noticed that these down here are kind of growing more throughout the season. What we typically do with this is we'll come through and get, we'll typically come through right here with some wood chips on top before spring hits, and that usually helps them to kind of thin them out a little bit and produce better growth that way by thinning them out a little bit. That's for sure. Well, it's starting to warm up finally. I'm happy about that. I'm going to get out of this coat. Anyway, so that's unfortunate. Can't do as much on that as I wanted to do today, but there's still plenty of other things that can be accomplished here. And here's some of the cabbage. It's kind of surprising how well this made it through the cold. I don't know if y'all can see that on screen there. I can actually bring you in a little bit closer now that I don't have to be stuck on Wi-Fi. Let's see what we can see. It's kind of surprised even to how cold it did get. It actually didn't do complete and total damage to the cabbage. We might be able to salvage some of that in there. We did have a row cover over this, which is basically insect netting, but it was a little bit of a thicker type of insect netting than what we typically use. I don't remember exactly what that is, but anyway, it's kind of surprising that we got them to the teens and they're still kind of surviving a little bit there. So that's kind of some good news. But alrighty, so we've taken a peek at that. Get y'all locked back onto the tripod here, so hopefully y'all don't fall over and bump your heads.
Oh, that looks great.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
That looks
We might be able to use something out of that.
It's not huge, but
We've been wanting to make some kimchi, is what we've been wanting to do.
yeah.
Just the time and schedule, trying to prepare for the weather and all that.
Yeah, that looks beautiful. It's damaged some, but some of those are beautiful.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's anything salvageable off of that.
Baker's Creek. It's an heirloom. Shoot.
You probably can't hear her. She's saying it's a heirloom seed from Baker's Creek. Baker's Creek Seed Company.
Yeah, it's Italian. Ooh, that's a big head.
Yeah, I mean, look at the green in there. It's still looking good.
It will go to seed though.
But yeah. So anyway, we're gonna go up here and get some of this broccolini out of here. So, like I said, we're gonna get the broccolini out of here. I'm gonna have to readjust y'all so the wind doesn't blow the camera over. She was starting to try and clip these off to leave the roots in the ground. I can't see my hand either. To clip these off to leave the roots in the ground. I'm afraid because it's the end of January, they're not going to have enough time to fully decompose by the time we start growing this spring. They're going to be in the way. We may decide to take the... Looks like we lost it there, but we're back. This is our tomato patch right over here. I got this thing set kind of low, so I wanted to get down low for y'all. But right over here, all through there was a tomato patch. Let me see if I can kind of pan you guys around just a little bit there. So all through there, right where Anna's standing, and back up through here. It is bright out here, looking at the sun. But that whole portion right through there and back through here was where the tomato patch was. So what happened is we had a lot of volunteers come up out there. So we went ahead and planted broccolini, harvested off that broccolini until the harlequin bugs got too bad for it. And then what we did is, as those tomatoes were starting to grow up, we went ahead and just cut those down off at the base, the broccolini plants that is. So out there, because it's had so much time to be in the sun to rot away properly, there's not really much left to that root. I think she's pulled up one right here. So this was all that's left, so it's decomposed quite well. But up here, there's just not going to be enough time for that to decompose properly. Plus, that's going to be a tomato patch down there again this year. We plan to actually stake up the tomatoes this year, and the best time to do that is right now when nothing else is going on that's really important. So if you're wanting to do anything in your garden and you've got some warm weather like now is definitely the time to do it, because when spring hits, you got all kinds of other stuff to do. Anyway, long and short, so this is decomposed plenty well for over there, because we're not going to take any planters through there. We're not going to take any transplanters through there. It's just going to be tomatoes next year. Who knows, we may plant some broccolini there like we did last year, let that grow, and then by the time the tomatoes take off, we'll pull the broccolini up or cut it off like I did here. What a worm.
Yeah.
And a worm.
Always good to see worms in your garden.
Worms, worms, worms. Got plenty of these guys. They kind of do our tilling for us, which is nice. They do the tilling for us. So I'm just going to check this out of the garden for the moment. As you can see, we've got piles of stuff laying out there. We're going to come back later and get that stuff out of here. Alrighty, so it's time to get some work done here. So I'm going to go and start pulling up this broccolini. It does get a little bit difficult sometimes to pull up. Let me see here. Let me set y'all off to the side. I think that's going to be better for the sun and everything else. Yeah, it's going to be a lot better. Alrighty, there we go. So I'm just going to start pulling this up again. I'm just going to throw it off to the side. For now, we'll come back and get it later. We can actually bring the four-wheeler in here because there's nothing in here right now. So I can get directly to this with the trailer and pull it out. During the summertime, that's not really much of an option just because of we have too many things growing in here, and it's hard enough just to walk around as it is, because we try and grow everything as close together as we possibly can to try and save space. And also that helps out with weed control as well. These right here are a little bit more difficult to pull up. The root ball is bigger. The way the roots are right here at the very base of the plant, they really want to hold on to that soil. And also, as we were discussing earlier in the live stream here, is that the ground is still somewhat frozen. But anyway, let me see, has anybody said anything in here yet? All right, cool. So I'm just going to continue on in this fashion. I don't know if you can see all the worms in there. All kinds of worms in the roots. That's kind of where they like to hang out. The moles showed us where the worms like to be. And also, to save these little guys, we're going to leave them sitting out in the sun. Let the soil warm up, and they should hop right on out of here. It'll be a little while before we come down here and clean up this part of the stuff anyway. What are you digging for over there? And if you're wondering what these bags are, these black bags, those are bags we lay in the garden. That way we can hold things down like plastic or shade cloth. I'll use them for quite a few different things. When we have greenhouse issues during the winter for high winds and all that, we'll use that in emergency situations to hold things down. As of right now, the plastic for the tunnels is held down by those bags right now to keep them from blowing around in the wind. Here we go, a little bit more there. Definitely some soil there for sure. I don't know, I noticed that it kind of helps my hands heal a little bit when they get cracked and all that during the winter, so it's kind of nice for sure. Good old winter gardening, also known as cleanup. Look at that. That's what we like to see. Microvigal fungi. That is the good stuff right there. Alrighty, there I am again, just taking my foot to smooth things out a bit. Not too far from being finished here. Not too far from it at all. Yeah, there again, you can tell the work we put into the soil. I don't know if you can see my hand there, I can't even see anything because of the sun. Around here we have red clay, and as you can see, that's not red clay on my hands. Just want to make sure your plants have good nutrient dense soil, and it makes everything with the grow go way better. Alrighty, there we go. The broccolini is all pulled up. We'll be ready to amend these beds here at some point in time. Let's head over here and see what Anna's doing. Try and get y'all in a good position there to see what she's up to. What are you doing down here?
This crabgrass, or what I call crabgrass.
Digging for crabgrass is what she said.
Let it take over. That's not good. It'll start growing here soon.
I don't know if you can hear what she's saying. She's saying she's trying to take care of it before it starts to grow back here soon. I'm just concerned of the winds messing up the microphone on this. But anyway.
That is not a good row.
But yeah, so when we let the, this was a tomato patch if you're just joining us. We're going to try and actually stake the tomatoes up this year. That's our goal. We want to do it every year, but it seems like the growing season hits and we run out of time. But so when we let the tomatoes grow in here, other weeds come in with it, but of course it helps a lot with weed control. So as you can see, we didn't really have a whole pile of weeds in here because the tomatoes were covering the ground so well. Again, this year we plan to put stakes up through here. We're going to have a huge pile of volunteers coming up through here because when the freeze hit and all that, I don't know if you can see there, piles of little bits of tomato fodder all over the place. So that means there's seeds out all through here. And we're just going to have piles of tomatoes coming up through here, so we have to be selective of what we want to plant and where we want it to be planted. Sometimes we'll actually take those, sorry I cannot see, this thing's right in the sun. Sometimes we'll actually take the plants that start growing on their own, we'll pull them up and transplant them somewhere else where we want them to be. Sometimes we give them away to friends, it just depends. So it works out okay. But here's an good example of our soil here, the way it really looks. When you start getting real deep, see if I can, again, the sun's in my eyes. Red clay. Now this is actually a darker color than it would be. As you can see, it's starting to turn into a little bit more of a soil situation than a clay situation. Alrighty, let me wipe my hand off here real quick. Yeah, that crabgrass, if you try and get it out, if we call it crabgrass, it's probably a whole other name to it. You have to really get down and get all the roots out because it will really, they just keep growing. Alrighty, there, the wind passed. We need to get that insect netting up today too. Anyway, for things that need to be done today, again, I'm having a rough time seeing. I'm gonna try and pick up all this fodder we have out through here. I'm gonna show you one more time. Like I said, the sun is right in my eyes. Let's see if I can pan right up through that away there. So we did have a whole bunch of fiberglass poles in here that are hoops that hold up our insect netting, which can also double as frost protection. We got all that out of here a couple days ago. Got all that frost protection out. I guess you can still kind of see the bags there that were holding everything down, all the row bags and all that. So that's kind of what we've been doing with these decent days since the cold weather's let up for now. We've actually got to go. We're doing a greenhouse build. I think I mentioned that a few times now. We have to start working on that Thursday to get the anchor poles and that in the ground for that. That tunnel's going to be 140 feet by 30 feet. We have to drive over 72 anchor poles in the ground. Get that in. We already have the hoops assembled. We're trying to record this stuff for y'all. We're not trying. We have been recording it. I was thinking about putting the greenhouse build in like a 2-part series. But I think it's going to be best to just go ahead and just leave it all in one. So that's kind of what we're thinking about doing. Since we're so close to continuing on with the build after this cold weather, that's probably what we're going to do, just put it all out in one. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, well, I didn't want to be on here this long. I was hoping to get off here by 1 p.m. actually. This was my goal, to get off of here by 1 p.m. But so this is really about the gist of it out here. I can pan back out here again for you real quick if you want. Let me get to where I can possibly see the screen. Yep, that sun is right in my eyeballs. Yep. So pan back here for you one more time. Again, that's a look down here in the second garden. Another look down through here. I'll show you the piles of stuff we have laying out here. Why not? So you can kind of see what came out of the garden. I am going to go ahead and try and flip this screen on you guys here, so hopefully this is going to be successful. Let's see if this works. Okay, good. Got the screen flipped. So anyway, here is all the fodder from the tomatoes. My apologies again if it's going to be a little jumpy. I'm holding my hand without the tripod. And here's an example of that insect netting. I pulled it out of here a couple days ago so that it would, the wind would blow it around, get all the wood chips off of it, the leaf fodder and all that. So just an example of that. We cut those at different lengths. And some more of that fodder we'll have to pick up out here. I'll get you another angle on over here doing some digging.
Digging to China. Digging for gold.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess she's just entertaining herself there. I guess she felt like shoveling today. I don't know.
I don't want this stuff to grow anymore.
I can't be too much of an authoritarian this time of year. It's kind of like our break time, but we're out here doing work. And then we had peppers were through here last year, as you can kind of see by the fodder there on the ground. All right down and through there. That's where the peppers were. This right here was collard greens, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, these are the collard greens. We'll come through here and pick those up as well. And we had the little Halloween scarecrow. The kids tried to make a scarecrow so they wouldn't come out here after the tomatoes. We still got to get that cleaned up. And of course we had a few issues with rabbits getting in the garden. So that cage has been there ever since. So it's just when the growing season ends, it's like, finally, take a break. So that's kind of what we did. But we're getting back into it now. We're actually further ahead right now than we've ever been. Anyway, so there's some more of the fodder through there that we'll have to clean up. And I think there's a little bit more tomato fodder right up through here. Yep, right up through there. But again, lots more cleanup, lots more to do. Anyway, that's about it. We greatly appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. Definitely hit the like button if you can. No worries if you can't, or don't want to, that is. And also subscribe if you'd like. That'd be awesome. But anyway, we'll catch you on the next one. Maybe we'll do some more live streams like this. Maybe we won't. We'll see. We're hoping those new cameras will do it. And we did get today to plan so we can live stream more. So hopefully that'll happen. Anyway, we appreciate it. Staying here longer than I planned on, but y'all have a good one. And we'll talk to you later.